Hi there everyone and welcome to this Smart Learning video on digital devices. When it comes to online learning, there are loads of options to choose from, so rather than go through all of them, what we're going to do here is give you some rules that you can use to decide what's worth using. When you're looking at options, you might find websites, online videos that help explain things, and there might be apps that focus on specific subjects or topics. Some of them might ask you multiple choice questions. Others might be cloze activities, which are when you fill in blanks. Others still are things like virtual flashcards that you can create yourself and help to test yourself with. And finally, there are smart apps, and these are the ones where you need a login, and they keep a record of what you're good at and bad at, so when they ask you questions, they focus on areas for improvement. I want to come back to this idea of smart learning when it comes to deciding what to use online. You've really got to think carefully as you're choosing the material as to what's going to be best for you. So first of all, do you trust the information you're revising from, or has it been created by someone who maybe doesn't exactly know what they're talking about? Next, are you just reading and rereading, or just passively listening to information? Because if you are, you're probably not doing anything active with your memory, and that's not going to help much. Next, is the app personalising your learning? Is it getting to know what you're good at and bad at and focusing in the right places? Does it give you useful feedback that you can act on to improve? And finally, are you repeating your practice or just doing it once and forgetting? It goes without saying that you've got to repeat this practice lots of times to help strengthen the memory pathway. Once all this is done, you've got to process the information. So you've got to make meaning out of it or apply it in some way. Think about using real-life examples or looking for things in the real world that help explain certain ideas. And think as well, what should you be doing on paper? It might be that you have to do some questions that your teacher's given you, or you can get some past paper materials to have a practice at. But the online part of it shouldn't be the end of the process. It should just be helping you with processing the information and taking the next step. When it comes to what's out there, there are loads of different options, and there's just a few here. GCSE Bitesize and the other Bitesize sites might be mainly geared around reading information online, looking at videos, and answering some quizzes. Things like Kahoot and Quizlet let you put together quizzes, so this is where you've got to be careful that you trust the information if you're using somebody else's. Firefly tasks that are set by a teacher are usually trustworthy, and then Seneca and Tassomai are apps that help learn a bit about what you're good at so that they can focus in on those areas for improvement, as we've discussed before. Bringing all of this together, we can think, like we've talked about previously, about a league table of techniques when it comes to online learning. At the bottom of the league, just reading from a website. That's not going to help very much. Next is watching a video. It could be more useful if it's for something that you don't understand very well. Next up the league is making notes, doing something active with the information. But remember that making notes themselves isn't going to be the end of the process. The next step up the league is multiple choice quizzes, so you're now starting to test your memory for information. The virtual flashcards idea can be quite good. They may be time consuming to put together, but once they're made, they can be really useful to test memory. In some apps, you can put them into a good pile and a bad pile, like we talked about in a previous video. Next is testing with feedback. So, getting your memory tested and also finding out how you can improve. Near the top of the table are these smart apps that tell you within each subject what topics are you good at and what areas do you need to focus in a little bit more. The best apps will actually ask you questions that you keep getting wrong to help you improve, and they'll ignore those questions that you get right every time. Finally, as I said in the previous slide, make meaning out of the information. Look for real-world examples and apply your knowledge to things like past paper questions and tests from lessons. That's by far the best use of online learning. And that's it. It was just a quick run-through of digital devices, but like we've said in previous videos, make yourself a pledge to try different apps and to really think about whether the information is testing your memory and recall.